Good afternoon, all. I'm Randy from Faculty of Engineering. I'd like to welcome you all to the Tech Talk today. Now I'd like to pass the time to the moderator, Dr. Hayden So. Dr. So, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us today on our Tech Talk. My name is Hayden So. I'm an associate professor at the EEE department, overseeing the computer engineering program. So today we will be very happy to have Professor Reynold Cheng for us to share with us his work on HINCare during this Tech Talk. Tech Talk is a series of dialogue and talk that we have and our engineer researchers to come in and share with us what we have been doing in terms of innovations and bringing our innovations to the society. And today we are particularly happy because Professor Reynold Cheng is going to talk about his work on HINCare, which brings some of our state-of-the-art in computer science research and bring it into our actual society and bringing benefit to the people who are most vulnerable in our society. A very meaningful piece of work. And so without further ado, I will just pass the time to Professor Cheng, and let Professor Cheng tells us all about HINCare.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, participants on site and in Zoom. Okay, thank you very much for your support. Okay, and also we'd like to thank Dr. Hayden So for his introduction about me. Okay, so as you can see from the topic, okay, today I would like to share with you some of our recent work on how we enable intelligent elderly care, okay, in which we would be very excited to share our project on the project called HINCare, or we'll just call it HINCare in short. Okay, so just a very brief introduction about myself. Currently, I'm an Associate Dean of the Engineering, and I'm responsible for student development activities. I'm also currently the Associate Director for the Institute of Data Science, and I'm also the Director for a new undergraduate program on data science and engineering. And at the same time, okay, I'm also the Director of our Star Lab, which I will introduce later. Okay. And my main research expertise is in data science, okay, especially about the big graph analytics and also in certain data management. In fact, our HINCare project is closely related to big graph analytics, that I will tell you later. Okay. I graduated from Purdue, again, also an alumni of Hong Kong U. And in the last few years, I've been quite fortunate to obtain some research awards, okay, and also some of the knowledge exchange awards, which are all due to the project I'm going to discuss with you today. Okay, so before I start, okay, I want to introduce to you, okay, our current activities of this so-called Star Lab. Okay, so what is Star Lab? Okay, Star Lab is a short form for Social Technology and Research Laboratory. Okay. So in fact, okay, it is a collaboration of multiple institutes, okay, from internal to Hong Kong U, like Computer Science, okay, Institute of Data Science, okay, and Hong Kong U Social Work and Administration Department, okay, and Hong Kong U Faculty of Medicine, and we also have some external collaborations with, for example, Hong Kong Jockey Club. Okay, so the main purpose of this lab is to try to engage ourselves in research and technologies in the so-called data science for social good. Okay? So in fact, this is a very important and emerging area in which people are very interested in studying how the data that we collected related to social science, right? Such as what I'm talking about, about elderly care or family care data. How can we make use of this data to share insights and discover important information? Okay, so currently our laboratory has 4 professors, 5 postdocs, 10 PhD students, and 20 developers. Okay, and we already have obtained 3 years of experience in the different kinds of projects, like, for example, the app development, video development, game, etc. Okay, and our Star Lab, okay, want to engage in 5 different aspects. Okay, so first of all, we want to do research, okay, in both fundamental and interdisciplinary prospects. Okay, So later on, I will show you, okay, what is our involvement here, okay, in this part, okay, when we talk about HINCare, okay. In addition, okay, we also want to develop some practical applications, okay, in which we want to support different NGOs in terms of the elderly care and family care, okay, and with synergy, okay, and collaboration closely with NGOs, okay. And in addition, our lab also produce videos for which these videos, okay, is also supported by other NGOs to try to share our knowledge with the community, okay. So last but not least, okay, we want to bring impact, okay, to try to integrate, okay, our research, okay, public, NGO, and government. Okay, so considering the talk today, I would like to divide into two parts. The first one is about what is HINCare actually, okay, what is this project all about, okay? Why does it seem to produce some impact? And then later on, okay, I will talk about Heterogeneous Information Network, which is the force behind that drives this system. Okay, so first of all, I want to give some information about the background. So in fact, okay, as you know, Hong Kong, like many other cities, okay, have a serious lack of manpower in terms of volunteering and helping for the elder care community, especially because Hong Kong is a cosmopolitan city, okay, and the aging problem, okay, has become more and more serious. So in fact, it is not easy, actually very easy to find out that there are a lot of need, okay, for volunteers. For example, we can see that nowadays, okay, actually one volunteer has to serve like 10 elders, and there's actually a huge shortage of staff, okay, in different elder centers. Okay. And in fact, okay, there's some other statistics which is quite telling. Okay, like for example, the elders who need to queue for the residential care, okay, they will need to wait for a long time. And also, okay, more important statistics here, in which we see that in 30 years of time, okay, more than 1/3 of the population, okay, will have the age of more than 65 years old. Okay, so an important question is, okay, of course you can keep pumping resources into helping the elders by hiring more the people, etc. But nowadays, even if you look at during the pandemic time, right, the news also tells us that there is a lack of helpers already. Okay, and this problem will just become more and more serious. Right? And especially if we only have limited resources in the NGOs and also the helpers, professional helpers, how can we deal with this problem? How can we deal with the resource allocation so that we can make the best use of our limited resources in order to optimize the use of it and serve the larger portion of elders? Okay, so that gives us a background, and that is why, okay, we are engaged here to try to see whether it is possible for us to make use of the volunteering resources in a better way. So here we introduce a HINCare, okay, which basically is a software that allows intelligent recommendation. So what is it actually? Okay, so here we need to introduce this concept, okay, which I call time banking. Okay, so what is time banking? So time banking basically is like everyone has a bank account. Okay. Of course, I know everyone has a bank account, but this bank account is different, okay, in which every one of us, okay, has an account of the amount of the time that we have accumulated in serving the others. Okay? So, for example, I have a Hayden, okay, by going to his room to doing some domestic duties, okay, then maybe I earn, okay, and 1 hour credit for it. Okay, so this kind of effort, okay, is basically quantified into a kind of the so-called time credit units, okay, in which we can use these time credits later to purchase other services. Okay, so that is what we call time banking. Okay, and basically our app, one of the major functions is to enable this kind of time banking in an easy way. Okay, so this project was previously supported by an ITF midstream research project, okay, 3 years ago. Okay, now it's just expired, but now our project, okay, thanks to the support of our NGO, we can carry on, okay, for the next 3 years to further develop it. Okay, And currently, we have been serving about 1,000 elders in 2 of the largest NGOs in Hong Kong. And we have also extended it to support 5,000 users, okay, not just in elder care, but from other communities as well. Okay, so these are our collaborating parties. Okay, so as I said before, our project was supported by the ITF, okay, Department of Government, okay, and Hong Kong Sing Kung Hui Cheng Kung Old Aged Care Complex, okay, is also our major stakeholders, as well as the Christian Family Service Center, okay. And besides that, okay, currently we have also engaged more than 10 NGOs, okay, who are using our services, okay, by using our support, okay, in terms of the software, and we also provide training sections to them. Okay, so let me briefly give you the overview of what our apps and the system are doing. Okay, so actually later on I will have a movie to show it. Okay, but to just give you a basic concept, so this app can be used by both the so-called service recipients and also the helpers. Okay, so as I said before, we want to enable time banking. So that is why our app acts like an agent in which it allows a user as a service recipient. If I want to apply for help, okay, then I can use this app to find people to help. Okay, if I'm a service provider, I have some time to spend. I want to contribute to the society. So I can also use this app to find the services and find the people to help. Okay, so this app can be used by both set of people. Okay, and it is also available in Apple and Google Play. Okay, and we designed this app, okay, with the elders in mind, because we know that even though now elders, okay, are more and more able to use mobile phone apps, okay, but because of the limitations, maybe their eyesight is not very good, or because of some other issues, they could not use a very complex software. So we have contributed a lot of effort to try to make this app user-friendly to the elders. Okay, and some of the screenshot here, for example, showing that, okay, after the elders earn some time credits, okay, he can participate in the event or participate in a computer class, for example, using 30 time credits, for example. Okay, and then, okay, this is our major interface. Okay, it's very simple. You can see that there are just 4 buttons, although it is in Chinese, okay, but basically it is about the fact that you can also apply for the services, you can find the jobs to have, etc. Okay, and here, okay, in response to NGO's request, we have also allowed the pictures of some of the art pieces, okay, that are created by the elders to be put on top of the app, so that it can also show the number of time credits that are required to buy this handkerchief, for example. Okay, so notice that this is not real money. Okay, this is the time credit you need. Okay, so if you want to get these art pieces, you have to work hard as volunteer. Okay. Okay, so I'm not going to show off this. Okay, and we are also aware that some of the elders may really not be able to use the mobile app. Okay, so that is why, okay, we have also have a so-called agent function. Okay, in which the friends or the relatives of the elder can also use the app on behalf of the elder user if they have difficulty in using the app. Okay, and we also have some user-friendly functions, like, for example, this so-called voice over navigation means that if you press the finger on this button for a substantial amount of time, then some voice will be given, okay, in order to tell you what this button is about, okay, so as to assist visually impaired users. Okay, and another very useful function is the so-called online account registration, okay, in which if a new user wants to use HINCare for a particular NGO, they can also use our app to create an account easily. Okay, so I'm not going to read all of this anyway. Okay, and another new functions that we include is that we have also an English version. Okay, they're in the same app, and the user can change it to the English interface if needed. Okay, so that it can also help NGOs, okay, in which the users are foreign or non-Chinese speaking users, okay, to use the app as service recipients as well as volunteers. Okay, All right. Now, another very important feature that allows HINCare to be widely used by NGO is the fact that it is ready to go. Okay. So what does this mean? Right? It simply means that, okay, if an NGO wants to use this kind of volunteering services, they don't have to set up some very sophisticated software platform, because our whole platform is in the cloud, and it is designed with an infrastructure, okay, such that it can be easily extended and scaled to support different NGOs. Okay? So what this means is that if an NGO wants to use our service, right, they just need to register an account with us, okay, and then they can set up the system to be used by them with some very simple customization steps, and then they can already use the system to support their own organizations. Okay, because I think that one of the issues, okay, about this kind of system, okay, for its widespread use is that we have to make sure that it is very easy to use. It is very customized, okay, it's very easy for the NGO to understand how to use it as well. So that's why, okay, with this in mind, okay, we are able to provide many support, okay, and even if a new NGO comes now, we just need to give them a very simple training section, and then they can already use the system. Okay, so here this picture shows the so-called web-based backend, okay, because this backend is used by the NGO service provider. Okay, so we need to have an NGO to organize the information about their own users. Okay, so we have also designed a cloud-based web interface for the NGO users so that they can visualize the data about the users here easily. And also at the bottom is some kind of data analytics, which I'm very interested, okay, about analyzing the number of users using the time banking for the, per month, okay, and what kind of services they're involved, etc. Okay, so for example, okay, we are interested to find out what happens to this time banking scheme. Okay, are users actively using time banking during the pandemic? Okay, and what kind of services they are using? Then we did some analysis, okay, using our backend to find out that for one of our NGO like Singapore many of the users, they are engaged in mobile phone learning and cognitive stimulation therapy. Okay, so this is easily extracted from a database, okay, because this is also one of the advantages why we want to digitize the whole thing. Okay, and in another NGO, for example, the Christian Family Service Center, okay, the services are a little bit different. Like, for example, many users maybe because they are always staying at home, okay, they want a lot of telephone condolences. Okay, so they may not go to the center as usual in the daily activities, but rather they stay at home and they want some kind of comfort. Okay, so that is why they engage in telephone condolences, and also many of them want people to accompany them for going outside for other activities. Okay, and here I also want to share some more analysis for the data that we have collected. Okay, so here I didn't name a particular NGO because of privacy purposes. Okay, but one of the things that we are interested in is the age distribution of the users. And here we find that actually most of the users for our apps, okay, are more than 65 years old. Okay, and at the same time, it is also quite interesting to find that there are 19 users, okay, who are less than 10 years old. Okay, so probably, okay, maybe the parents, okay, bring them to the center to help the elders. Okay, another very interesting statistics, okay, is we also try to analyze, okay, what is the proportion of the female and the male participants, okay, and we find that the number of female participants are 3 times more than the number of male participants. Okay, so probably we need to find out more with the social elder care experts, okay, to find out why. Okay. Okay. So another interesting statistics is we try to find the correlations of the ages of the requesters and the helpers. Okay, and we find that most of the requesters for that NGO, okay, actually they're quite old. They're between the age of 80 to 90. Okay, but the helpers themselves, they are also not that young. Okay, they are Actually, we call them young olds. Okay, they're more than 60 years old, but they're still relatively young. Okay, so this is a very encouraging figure because what it tells us is that we are able to start to cultivate the mutual help culture in the community. Because back in a few minutes we talked about, okay, is the fact that we are lacking manpower in the elder care services. And wouldn't it be great if the elders can help each other, okay, based on the talents or the expertise or the needs, okay, as recorded in a time banking app, okay, is it possible for them to help each other? Okay, so that basically finished our first part about an overview of our HINCare app. Is there any questions at this point? Or we can save the questions later, okay, but okay, anyway, okay, let us go into the second part, which is a little bit more technical about what drives this HINCare to work, okay? And that gives into a little bit technical topic in response to this TechTalk, okay? We call it Heterogeneous Information Network, okay? So basically, okay, this Heterogeneous Information Network is, you can consider it as a kind of a knowledge base behind which enables the so-called elder helper matching. Okay, so the key problem that we want to address here is that we have a set of elders or service recipients who want to find people to help. Okay, they have a list of service requests. How can we find the helpers to assist these people in the right way so as to have a good pair up among these two sets of people? Okay, so in order to do this, okay, this is actually not that straightforward. Okay. So I would like to spend a little bit more time, okay, on the background. Okay, so in fact, okay, this is closely related to my research in the last few years about how to analyze large graphs. Okay, so what is a graph actually? So of course, a graph does not mean the Excel graph. Okay, but it's basically you can consider as a kind of network, okay, or a database that stores the relationship amongst different objects and entities. Okay. So for example, a Facebook is a typical graph database because in a Facebook, different users, they're linked to each other based on the friendship or relationship. Okay. So there are other kinds of a network, okay, like for example, a knowledge graph, which is extensively used in search engines such as Google to provide information. Okay. Biological network, okay, for example, connecting different proteins together, okay, according to the interactions experimentally. Okay, and in fact, graphs are also widely used in e-commerce, okay, in which this kind of graph connect different items and the users together based on the purchase history. Okay, so all these kinds of things, okay, about different linkages among the edges in a unstructured way, okay, when collectively called a heterogeneous information network. Why is it called heterogeneous? Okay, the word heterogeneous means that different edges, okay, connecting different objects have the different pieces of information or textual information. Okay, so that is why we call it heterogeneous information network. Okay, so here are just a few examples about the so-called HIN or heterogeneous information network. So for example, I think I myself are very interested to analyze movies, okay, because I want to find the best movies to watch. Okay, I don't want to waste my time. Okay, so that is why we go to IMDb or other kind of movie rating website, and in which in this kind of website, it is very useful to map the information into a kind of graph or network. So for example, here you can see a different celebrity stars. Oh, forget to put the Johnny Depp there. Yeah. Movie stars, okay, movies, okay, directors, okay, they're related in different ways. And you can see that, for example, these edges correspond to which actor, okay, has been acted in different movies. So here I color different edges in different colors, okay, to indicate that the types of the linkages or the edges are different. Okay. Well, okay, another example, okay, that is more useful in academic, okay, is the so-called bibliographical network. Okay, so in which here we put a number of authors, okay, which are very active in the data mining area, okay, and also the papers that they have published, okay, and also the venue of the publication. Okay, so we can use an edge to connect these different papers, authors, and venues together in the edges that carry different kinds of information. So for example, Philip Yu has published the path theme. Okay, so we use a red edge to represent the relationship between the author and the paper. Okay, so that is why we call it heterogeneous. It is not just about the structure, but also about the information that is encoded together with this structure. Okay, so back to our HINCare. Okay, so a HINCare is just another kind of HIN. Okay, so in which in this HIN, okay, we can, here is just a very simple toy example. Okay, the real scenario is much more messy. Okay, so here we have a number of people. Okay, so these people, okay, could be the helpers, could be the elders, could be the service recipients, and they are also not encoding the service information. For example, John has helped Samuel before, okay, in escort service. Okay, they are helping Samuel to go to hospital, for example. Okay, and they may belong to different NGO, etc. Okay, so the key issue is, okay, if we are able to represent this information as a kind of graph or HIN, what can we do with this? Okay, why is this relationship information useful for us to find out how to pair up or match the service recipients and the helpers? Okay, so that is the problem we want to study. Okay, so in fact, okay, in academic, okay, it is been pointed out that the HIN has a lot of important applications. One of the very important applications is so-called link prediction. Okay, so link prediction, okay, or edge prediction means that I want to know whether there is a chance that there is a link established in the future. Okay, so this is widely used in social network applications. So for example, I want to know whether I will have a chance, okay, to know Hayden later. Maybe I don't know Hayden before, okay, but because we are close enough to each other, we know many of the common friends. So there's a chance that we may know each other. So this is called a link prediction, predicting the relationship in the future. Okay. Another application that is also very useful is called the entity profiling. Okay. So what this means is that if we are able to represent the objects or entities and the relationship, we can use the related nodes in order to bring into more information to describe the current object. Okay. And another topic that I'm studying right now is called data integration. Okay. Data integration means that maybe you have a number of HINs, okay, and you want to connect them together in order to have a larger database. How can you connect these nodes and resolve all their duplications and also similar entities together in order to merge them into a larger HIN? Okay, so there are many applications, and you can also use creativity to think about more. Okay, so because of the limitation of the time, okay, I would just briefly talk about what are the key problems that we study. Okay, so the problem that we study is that once we have this HIN with us, okay, how can we know, okay, which nodes are closer to each other? Okay, so this is called relevance computation. Okay, so for example, okay, this HIN, okay, talked about the previous US presidents, okay, and the family relationships. Okay, you can see that, for example, Barack Obama has 2 children. Okay, this is married to Michelle Obama. They belong to different parties and so on. Okay, and in addition, Barack Obama is a writer, US president, a leader, and so on. Okay, so there's a lot of information about this thing. Okay, and what we want to know is that given this kind of relationship, okay, we know that there are a lot of entities in this HIN, but we also want to know, okay, which are closer to each other, because in many of the graph mining or data mining applications, the key problem is how to find out or quantify the closeness of each other. Okay, can we compute a score, okay, which tell me how close Barack Obama and George Bush are, for example? Okay. So this is one of the problems that the computer scientists like to study. Okay? In fact, as we find out that to do this, it is not straightforward because there are many different definitions. Okay, and so that is why researchers are engaged in studying how to quantify, to compute the score between the two entities in an HIN effectively. Okay, so in HIN, okay, in the literature, researchers have proposed the concept of the meta path, okay, to facilitate the computation of the relevance score. So what is a meta path? A meta path essentially is a sequence of nodes, okay, that are connected by the edge tags. Okay, so to give you a very simple example, so suppose that we have a snapshot or instance of this network. Okay, so one of the meta path is to say that a US president is connected by US First Lady if there's a meta path between them which says that they share the same child. Okay, so this is US president is a type of the node. Okay, person is of course another kind of node. Okay, so has child means that they have a relationship. Okay, in which the US president has a child with person. Okay, and this has child -1 means that the direction of the edge is reversed. Okay, so we can say that the US president can reach the US First Lady. Okay, by going through this meta path. Okay, so in fact, okay, in the HIN, there is a large number of meta paths. Okay, so for example, okay, besides the has-child relationship, the US president and the First Lady can also belong to the same political party, and they can also be the citizen of the same country. Okay, so what researchers found is that these meta paths are very important to compute how close two entities are. Okay, so a very simple example is the so-called path count. Okay, path count simply means that, okay, if I want to define the score between two nodes in the HIN, for example, Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, okay, then maybe a simplest way to do is to count the number of paths that satisfy these meta path instances. Okay, so for example, we can see that Barack Obama and Michelle Obama has 2 children. Okay, so that means there are 2 different ways of satisfying this meta path from the US president to go to the First Lady. Okay, they can go in this way or they can go in this way. Okay, so we say that, oh, there are 2 paths to this. Okay, and that's why I say that the score of this relevance is 2. Okay, so the higher the better. Okay, the high score means that these 2 nodes are more closely related to each other. So if they have 10 children, then the score becomes 10. Okay. Well, okay, but this obviously also has a problem because this score can be very high, and also if this node, okay, is very popular, it's very densely connected, it will also always have a very large path count. Okay, so that is why, okay, another popular way to compute the score is to based on the concept of random walk. Okay, so random walk means that, okay, we start from a node and then probabilistically I throw a coin to see which node it should go next. Okay, based on the outgoing edges. Okay, so for example, here in this case, Barack Obama can reach Michelle Obama with a probability of 0.5 because he can go here, but he can also go back to himself through on this meta path. Okay. So I'm not going to give a lot of detail, but just to tell you that in the research community, there are a lot of ways to define the relevance score based on meta paths, and we ourselves also have proposed one before. So one of the problems, okay, that we need to study is how to find the meta path, because without the meta path, these scores won't work. Okay, but how to find this meta path is also a difficult issue because there could be a numerous kind of combinations of meta paths. Okay, so that is why in the last few years, okay, we have dedicated our efforts to study how to discover the meta paths from a very complex HIN. Okay, so we want to use some ways to help us to guide to find the most important meta path in order to define the relevance. Okay, so here we have a few papers, so I'm not going to give the detail in this talk. Okay, but there are good conferences in data mining, and I could share with you the main idea here. So the idea is to use the concept of a so-called query by example. So what does this mean? So suppose that, okay, I already have some knowledge about the relationship between the nodes. Okay, So like using our US president example, so we know that I can give an example to this software to tell you that Barack Obama is related to Michelle Obama, okay? Because I know that the couples, Bill Clinton and Hillary Clinton, they are another examples of couples who are also having the relationship of the president and first lady, okay? So the main idea here is that if we have enough pairs of these examples which seem to share some common relationship, then I want to design an algorithm, okay, that can extract the most important meta paths from these examples, okay? Because I only want to use the meta paths that are the most important and unique to describe the relationship between these examples. So in this case, for example, then is it possible for us to find out that among these pairs of examples, that the most important meta paths are the US president and the US first lady, they must share a child, and also they must belong to the same political party. Okay, so this algorithm should be smart enough to be able to extract this meta path relationship that allow me to describe the most crucial and important relationship between these nodes. Okay, so we call this a meta path discovery framework. Okay. So I'm not going to give a detail, but I can just tell you that this is a huge computational challenge because the number of the candidate meta paths grows exponentially with the path lengths. Okay, and we have developed a machine learning approach, okay, which try to model each time, okay, when we find the path between the two nodes, okay, and then we use some machine learning approach and as well as developing a data structure in order to speed up the search of the meta path. Okay. So going back to our HINCare again, okay, so here is the more sophisticated picture about the HIN that we have to deal with. Okay, so here basically you can see that each node or entity, okay, we can also label it as a helper or the elder, and then each of the entities here also carry a lot of information, like for example, what is the occupation, gender, age, and address. Okay, and each edge, okay, could represent the helping relationship. For example, the helper has provided domestic duty to the elders, for example. Okay, so our goal is to try to use the meta path to analyze this HIN in order to find out what is the best pair of the matches between the elders and the helpers. Okay, and interestingly, okay, no one has done this before. Okay, no one has applied this kind of HIN-based method, okay, to recommendations of the services. So to give you a brief review, okay, what we have been doing is that we have used the first of all try to find out the meta paths that are important to the HIN and the elders. So for example, one of the meta paths that we find it important is that the service recipient is connected to the service which is connected to the helper. Okay, and then through this, okay, we want to use meta path based recommendation methods to try to see how we can pair up the elders and the helpers. And in the literature, there are two performance metrics to do this, called the hit ratio and the so-called discounted cumulative gain. Okay, basically they are the metrics that are used to measure how accurate K helpers are recommended to a given user. Okay, so here I just want to give you a brief figures. Okay, so all these different colors of the lines represents different kinds of recommendation methods. Okay, so we measure the hit ratio. Okay, and we find that okay, the best performing recommender systems are based on the so-called trans E and trans H. Okay, so the main summary here is that the two methods called trans E and trans H, which are meta path based recommender methods, they achieve satisfactory results, okay, compared with other methods by up to 10% of improvement over other methods that don't use meta paths. Okay, so what these experiments okay show is that the meta path based methods are indeed able to provide better recommendation quality than other recommender system methods. Okay, so basically this is a 1-minute summary of what I have discussed in the past minutes. Okay, so I want to conclude our talk with some of the impact or benefit that we have brought up, okay, and the promotion that we have done. Okay, so here, first of all, we have served in the past 3 years, okay, 2 major NGOs. The first one is the Christian Family Service Center, in which we have provided service to over 800 users with 2,000 service records, okay? And they have also contributed about 0.5 million transaction time credits, okay? And another NGO single word, Zhangguan Age, the elder complex, okay? We have also served a similar number of users and high volume of transactions, okay? And now our current development is that we are working closely with the Community Investment and Incubation Fund, okay, CIIF, which is a government funding arm to support the different activities of the NGOs. And thanks to CIIF, okay, the NGOs, okay, have approached us to use our services. Okay, so we are now providing the HINCare services to support volunteering services to these NGOs. Okay, and a very interesting development is that these NGOs are not necessarily serving the elders. Okay, so even though we start our development, okay, for the elder people, okay, but actually now our services have expanded to other kinds of NGOs that have the need to enable volunteering and time banking. Okay, so these are just some examples of the NGOs that have participated in our scheme. Okay. And some of the comments I don't read it here because it's in Chinese, okay, but basically, okay, these are the feedback, okay, by our partners, or service partners, saying that the time banking is now becoming more useful to them because they, in the past, they basically use paper and pencils to mark the time credits that the people have contributed, but now they can all do it very easily online, and they can even check the data very easily and do some analysis on the kind of the services that are mostly sought by the members. Okay, and in the past 3 years, okay, we have also appeared actively in different newspapers, magazines, and radio stations. Okay, and I myself have also given 2 public seminars online. Okay, and also another important element is the support, the keen support of the NGO. Okay, so for example, in the Zhangguan complex, they're very keen to provide time banking. So actually, you can see that these pictures are before the pandemic. Okay, and they have been holding these activities in which you can see that these are the real goods, okay, or the plants or vegetables, okay, provided by the elders, okay, and they can use our time banking app to buy, to enable the transactions or the commerce using the time credits, right? And here in this example, you can see this uncle, okay, he is helping us to promote the HINCare app, okay, which if you're a new registered user, you will be given some free time credits, okay, if you register in the HINCare app, okay? And our app has also appeared in TVB, okay, and also I gave an interview in the radio station last year, okay? And recently, we have also been invited by the Hong Kong Laureate Forum to give a 4-day exhibition. Remember, it is the exact day is in which there is a typhoon number 8. Okay, so the whole exhibition was delayed, okay, because of that. Okay, and now, okay, we are here in this place. So we have a booth here, okay, in which after this seminar you can give a try, okay, to try our app here in this simulator, in which you can pretend yourself to be elder, okay, or helper, okay, and try to use our app to see how this time banking work. Okay, and we have also been lucky to get some awards. Okay, like for example, we got 2 awards, okay, from Smart App Prize competition for the last 2 years, and I have also got the Hong Kong U Knowledge Exchange Award for engineering for this app. Okay, and recently we have also got an important award from ICT Award 2021. Okay, for our contributions to this software. Okay, so this is our current team. Okay, which besides me, okay, Professor Ben Cao, okay, Terry Lam, and Law Hao, okay, from our university, they're our key team members. Okay, and also I must thank Fred, Isaac, and Jesse for being our key members for this team. Okay, for making all this work. Okay, so to summarize, okay, now we are working with the CIIF, okay, and we are also welcoming more NGOs to join our team. Okay, and this is our website, okay, which it is in both Chinese and English, which tells you the stories and also the services that we are providing. Okay, so to conclude this, okay, I would like to say that the HINCare is just one of our endeavors of StarLab, okay, which the StarLab, okay, as I said before in the beginning, okay, we want to serve and investigate, okay, to explore how data science can be used for social good. Okay, so in connection, okay, because I'm also the associate director of Institute of Data Science, so we'll also leverage, okay, this opportunity to try how can we use our expertise in data science to find out among this sea of data, how can we find important information? Okay, so of course we need the support from multiple NGOs as well, because without them we don't have data. Okay. So finally, I want to acknowledge the efforts from our research team, okay, which our young and energetic student, okay, postdocs, okay, also help, okay, in this data science adventure. Okay, so if you're interested, okay, visit our website, which is a newly renovated, okay, to tell you what kind of the projects that we have done in the last 3 years. Okay, so that's the end of my talk. Thank you very much.